right, Mayor, let me come to you. So this is a landslide victory. And, I mean, we understand the power of incumbency. But with a candidate like Agbola Ajayi, you might have expected something like 15-3, 16-2, but 18-0.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons for that. One, I want to congratulate Governor Aiyedatiwa because he went through a lot of challenges. He was even almost impeached as deputy governor. And he had this running battle with the former governor's political family, and he survived it.
Even some of the federal lawmakers.
Yes, and he survived it. So I'm very happy for him. But the problem with PDP, there are reasons for that landslide victory. One, the two candidates, both of the APC and PDP, are from the same senatorial district. They are both from the riverine areas of the state. And, you know, Agbola was a former deputy governor, but there's a limit to what you can really do as a deputy governor. You understand? You are like an...
As a former deputy governor?
No, even when you were deputy governor, there's a limit to what you can achieve because you are not a governor. So by the time he left and was a former deputy governor, he cannot have the kind of standing like somebody who was not only a deputy governor, but a governor. So that gave him an edge over Ajayi in their senatorial district. The senatorial district have now come to accept Aiyedatiwa as a leader from that area. So that was why he couldn't win his local government, because they're from the same area and the people has already accepted. Apart from that, PDP as a party is not as strong as it should be, you know, because, you know, when you have a party that is not in government, they will not be in a position to distribute the largest of government to their supporters. So their supporters has been outside government, as it were. So, and the way the Nigerian politics run, a lot of people, especially the grassroots mobilizer, will have drifted to APC for them to be able to survive. There are some people, that's what they survive on. So the PDP as a political party does not have what it takes to be able to keep their supporters happy. So that also work against them. Apart from that, the party itself is not united. There is a lot of infighting within the party. So the party is not strong, and they don't have enough resources to be able to match APC. So there's so many things against PDP as a party. So I'm not surprised that Aiyedatiwa was able to have a landslide.
All right, Chris, let's talk about the process again, because despite, you know, increased or enhanced, let me say, technological support for INEC, why do we still have to wait to the next day for the announcement of results?
Well, the fact remains that despite the kind of upscale we've had in the area of technology, there are still certain things that you still have to do physically. Manually. Let me use that, physically, manually. Yes, you can see that the last result came from riverine areas that are far away from Akure. So, therefore, that, the result would have been, and as I told you that, as of yesterday, over 95% of the results have been uploaded on INEC IREF, which to me was commendable. But even at that, you still have to go through the manual process of making sure that the various electoral officers in charge in the local government still come with that certified copy result that was signed by every member of all those political parties. So that is always existing. We've not gotten to a point where we are, unlike in the United States. You saw what happened in the United States. They had a presidential election, and within hours, results were, in fact, you don't even need the list. You don't even announce. You just have the forecast.
The TV network call it another.
They just forecast. But you still realize that they also have their own challenges. If you remember vividly what happened during the election, the last one before this, the one in the United States, where it took a long time to be able to get results in some states, like Georgia.
No, because of the recount.
Because of the recount. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking of technology. So even with that technology, there was still a recount because it was too close.
Yes.
So they had to wait for manual recount. All over again. So it happened. Like India, if an election is held in India today, do you know that it takes up to 2 months before the final result? Yes. Go and check. They had election. At times it takes up to 2 months because India is the largest democracy in the world now. They are the highest. They have the highest number. But with that level of technology, so we are getting there. But my own problem is the credibility of the process, because there have been instances where, despite the fact that we have this uploading of results, but it comes to a point that even when people now bring the physical papers and the rest of it, you come to see that there's some kind of discrepancy between what was loaded on the IRF portal and the. So that is where you ask yourself is that, where I want to see is that, will there come a day in Nigeria that we have an election and nobody will go to court? Mayor?
Maybe. It's not possible because we are bad losers. That's how politics is. In America, the last election, Donald Trump was a bad loser. He didn't accept the result. He didn't congratulate the winner. You understand? So it's like that. There are still politicians. There will still be some politicians who are bad losers.
So it's not really a Nigerian
thing. It's not a Nigerian thing. There are some politicians who are bad losers who will not want to accept defeat. So people will always go to court because for various reasons. People will also go to court. What is important is for us to be able to convince the generality of people that the process was fair, which I think was what happened in this case. Relatively, there were not enough complaints about the process because, like I said, because it's a one-off election, INEC was able to put its acts together. They were concentrated. It's a one-off election, so they are concentrated on that one. So they're able to do better when it comes to logistics and the other things that you need. But yes, the IRF that you mentioned, there will always be that because somebody will post those results to IRF and there could be mistakes. What is important is the one that was signed by agents of the different political parties. That supersedes whatever you say on IRF.
That's what I was talking about. That at times that's why some of those delays become. Yeah. But even at that, you come to realize that even at that, you still see some agents of political parties, despite the fact that they sign, still come at the collation center. You see several times, and they still raise, oh no, I did not.
That's irrelevant. Immediately you sign, if it's signed, it's binding because you have the option not to sign.
My own take is that, and that's back to the question I asked, if the process is seen to be fair, I see people trying giving up. Let me give a classic example. It has happened in this country. In 2015, we had a presidential election where an incumbent president, good Lord
considered,
saw that the election was free and fair for him. And even before the result was called, he called his opponent, who was President Buhari.
So I think that's Jonathan.
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Because he, within himself, felt that the election...
No, because he's a good man.
Yes.
It's just because he's a good man.
Yes. That's what...
Jonathan is a good man.
About the process. It's actually about...
Jonathan is a good man. That was why he did that.
So why do we have bad politicians?
You always have... You see, that's what maybe you always have that people are different. So you always have some people that will not want to accept, even when it is obvious that they lost. That's why I gave an example last 4 years ago in America. Donald Trump claimed he didn't lose. He's still insisting that he didn't lose. But he lost. So that's how it works.
So I want us to talk about the task ahead of the governor. But before then, let's talk about security measures, militarization of our elections. Can we ever grow beyond this?
There's no way we won't do that. There's no way we won't achieve that for different reasons. Two, one, our democracy relatively is still young. When people compare us with other climes, you see in America they have over 300 years of democracy. You understand? So you cannot compare that. Our democracy is still young. Because our democracy is still young, there is still tendencies for winner wins all. Before, thuggery and votes, the ballot snatching was part of our election. We have reduced that now. Okay, but it will be foolhardy for us not to put security in place because if we don't do that, some people will use these same talks to go to what they used to do and then put violence down and people will not feel safe to contest. So we will still need to have that security arrangement. And because of the challenges that we have in Nigeria now, our police have shown over time that they cannot cope alone. So the military have to assist them in solving security problems. So when we have election, when they want to provide security, you will not only see police, but you see the other security agencies there. So it's not really militarization, but it's just that because of the circumstances of the way we run election here, we have to provide security.
Chris, would you like to say something about that?
Yes,
because for some people, it's not about the security measure. It's really about the number of security personnel deployed.
I totally agree with you with that, because on that, look at it, about 40,000 policemen were deployed to Ondo State for this election. This is an off-cycle election. At the general election, can you deploy 40,000 to Ondo State? Of course not. What is our police force? What's the number? Less than 500,000, or a little above 500,000, about 500, 550.
I think some Nigerians will continue to doubt that number.
No. That's what I wanted to tell you. Let me tell you.
That is what they'll be saying. But out of that 500,000, I'm just coming. Out of that 500,000, you can rest assured that about 100,000 have been sent to VIPs. That is what the problem is always. So when we're talking about the number, you are looking at the number on ground. But most of those numbers are with VIPs. You see some VIPs that have as many as about 10. How many policemen do you see with a governor? Even ordinary local government chairman. That's about 3 or 4 with him. Bank chiefs and all these other people, so-called big boys.
And people like you.
People like you, Mayor. So those are the issues. But what I'm saying in essence, until we be able to make our election that it doesn't look like a do or die. Let me give you a classical example. Just Ghana here. If an election is being held in Ghana, on the day of election, people go about their businesses. Mayor, you are aware of that.
Correct.
Mayor, we were together in Ivory Coast.
Yes.
And we saw in Ivory Coast that you can hardly see policemen. And the whole place was orderly. You don't need, I don't know how many times, even we were going to the stadium, I don't know how many times we saw policemen. Unlike what we're saying here. So what I'm saying is that we have done hours, if we're going to have an election, the IG of police will give an order that there will not be any movement of vehicles or blah, blah, blah from 12 midnight to... For goodness sake, we paralyze all economic activity. In what part of the world do we do that? Why do we need to do that? But most of these things have been demystified gradually, whether correctly or incorrectly. I would give you a classic example. See what happened in Rivers State, where the police had a court order that they will not participate in the local government election. Mayor, whether that election was valid or not, there was an election in Rivers State, and there was no killing of a single human being. So what am I saying is that if the people on their own decide that the process will be as easy and solely as it's supposed to be, we don't need this a whole lot of policemen everywhere on a day of election, because that in itself, over militarizing also affect people coming out.
Come out.
Because the pressure you give people that it is not going to be fair, they're going to be violent. So people will rather stay in their house or stay by their backyard and be playing football. Those that want to play will be playing you. That is part of the problem when we are talking about the voter apathy. Because knowing fully well that, well, if I'm going out to vote, I don't know what will be the outcome, whether I will come out alive and the rest of them. I'd rather stay in my house. That is true. Then also the part is that when we talk about voter apathy, most people no longer have confidence in the system. They believe that whether you vote or not, a result will be announced. So what they just believe is that, for goodness sake, why should I go and vote?
Are we doing enough when it comes to voter education?
Yes. We might not be doing enough. We might say we're not. But the question you ask yourself, who does that? There are about 3 layers. One is INEC. Second is the political parties. Then third is civil societies. The question you ask yourself, how much of voter education do the political parties have? All you just see them is just do rallies. That is what in the United States, this election that happened, the presidential candidate, the 2 presidential candidates, we are sending people to go what we call a door by door.
Door to door.
Door to door. In fact, most of the presidential candidates were even doing it themselves. You saw Donald Trump, where he went to eateries, serving food. You saw Kamala Harris. That is how it is done. So that before the election, people are well sensitized. But even here, you don't get to see that. Most of the job is left for the media houses, journalists. We do most of the job.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, because of time, let's talk about the task ahead of Governor Aiyedatiwa.
He has his job cut out for him, and after the death of Aiyedatiwa and he became governor, he has done relatively well. What he needs to do is to do better, to work on the platform that he has now. It's not a new governor per se. He has been, unfortunately, because the governor died, he had been able to be in the saddle, and then so he understands what needs to be done. Ondo is relatively a comfortable state. It's an oil-producing state. So they have enough resources to be able to turn the place around. States. And, sorry?
I said a civil service state.
Yes, yeah, but they have oil too. They have oil. They are one of the oil-producing states.
I know,
so they collect the revision. So, but I think that those who have ruled Ondo, with all respect to them, have not done enough. Why I'm saying so is that economically, Ondo should be better the way it is. They are not making use of the water that they have. They have the deepest part of the ocean in any state. They should be able to have a free trade zone that should rival the one of Lagos. They should be able to have a port that should rival the one in Lagos. They should be able to create an hub for that part of the country, an economic hub that the states will benefit from. I think they should concentrate more on things like that.
All right, gentlemen, let's go for a break, and when we come back, we'll move on to other matters. Stay with us, everyone.